Okay, Monday night, Novak News. You have the two girls.
In the sales team.
Yes, woo. You've got Jess and you've got me tonight, guys. We're going to be talking about all sorts of topics to do with if you're not happy with your property manager or you're not happy with your current agent in your sales process, what are some of the things that you can do to get out of that agreement, right? It's a really, really big topic.
I think a lot of people feel like they're stuck because they haven't really looked into detail at the options and they feel like they can't leave. And that's the biggest barrier. Or they think they have to pay a lot of money, which isn't true.
No, that's exactly right. So let's talk first, Jess, about if you're in a managing agreement, guys, you're with a property manager and you're just not happy. Okay, so you've signed into a rental agreement with an agency, and we hear about this time and time again, right? You've signed into a rental agreement with a particular agency, and you can't get out of your agreement because there's a notice period there that you've got to give.
Yep.
Okay. So ordinarily, the notice period usually, guys, sits between about 60 to 90 days. So that's the amount of notice that you've got to give to the managing agent to say, I want out. All right. Now, a lot of people don't realise switching managing agents is much easier than what you think.
You can also palm it off to the new agent as well. You don't have to be the one that has to have the confrontational discussion with your property manager. You don't have to be the one that does any of the paperwork. You can just say to your new agent, hey, I want to change. Can you help me? And they can do it for you.
Absolutely. So now we've just taken over a management today, or actually a few managements today from other agencies, people that just simply weren't happy with the level of service that they were getting. And I want to address that in just a sec as well, because what we find in property management in particular is that the property manager could have been in beauty therapy a few months ago. Right? And now they're managing your biggest asset. And I call it your bag of cash. So let's say, Jess, you've got a two-bedder here in DY on the Northern Beaches, and it's worth, let's call it $1 million. That's $1 million of your hard-earned cash that you've given to a property manager, and she's now managing it. But she was a beauty therapist a few months ago. Now she's managing your $1 million in cash. And you simply, it's crazy, isn't it?
It's so crazy.
It is.
At least what Novak does, which is really special, because you have to be able to train people. At the end of the day, people are going to move careers and you're going to have new people in property management. It's how it works. But with us, we have every single property is linked to a senior property manager. Everyone's been here at least 15 years. We still have new people coming in because you need to have new staff and it's just part of the process. But they're with an experienced person. So your bag of cash is much safer with an experienced 100%. Property manager than someone was a beauty therapist last week.
100%. And that's the thing. The biggest thing that we hear on the property management side of things is that people call up to speak with their property manager and they're not there at the agency anymore. They've moved on.
Yeah.
Right?
It's the biggest
thing that we hear, or they don't know who it is.
Yeah.
Right? So that longevity they're just not getting out of their current managing agent. Now, a good agency, so today we took over a number of managements, a great agency will pay out your notice period that you would ordinarily need to be giving to your managing agent. They will pay that out to take the management over for you in a very, very timely fashion. And that changeover, what we call the switchover, should really be done within about a 24 to 48 hour period max, right? And an agency like us, we'll do it all for the landlord, right? You guys don't need to do anything. We'll even do the awkward takeover letter for you so that you don't have to have that conversation with the current managing agency. So it's a very easy changeover.
I think it's like with anything in life, though, you get nervous about having the conversation. So that can be the biggest barrier for some people is having the chat. So if there is someone that can step in and speak on your behalf, it will make life 1,000 times
Absolutely.
easier.
All right. So the changeover is very easy. So we will pay out the management fees of whatever that notice period is to take the management on board for you straight away. All right. So very easy to do that. You do not need to be stuck with a managing agent that you are just simply not happy with.
You're paying for a service. That person should be doing the service. If they're not doing it, then you're paying them for nothing. It's crazy.
No, that's exactly right. And look, I guess some of the bugbears that we hear with people that are getting their properties managed by other agencies are routine reports are not getting done. Maintenance is not getting looked after. These routine inspections, they should be done when you first are managing a property. A routine inspection should be done after the 3-month period to ascertain that the property is being well taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And if those boxes are all being ticked, then it should be done every 6 months following on from that.
For sure.
Okay.
At least. And if something comes up or if there's a complaint or something happening, you should be going in again. It should be a frequent occurrence and they should be being sent to the owner, not just kept on file.
Exactly. Now, we took over the one particular management that we took over today. Routine inspections had not been conducted for a very, very substantial amount of time. Okay. Now, that just opens up a whole can of worms there. Yeah. Right? Because we go in, we do the routine inspection. I need to find that the property, remember the $1 million bag of cash I was talking about, right? That $1 million bag of cash is not being well taken care of. And the property was not looked after because those routine inspections weren't done. Okay, so these are some of the alarm bells that we see when properties are not being well maintained.
Another one is also nearing to the end of the tenancy, there should be a discussion with the landlord about a rent escalation. Sometimes the rent just rolls over into the next term, or the agent will just sign up a new lease or whatever happens without having the conversation that here's the opportunity to increase by $5, $10, whatever it might be.
Absolutely. Those rental increases really important. The rental market's very strong at the moment. Mm-hmm. And it is very, very important that the property manager is well across that. But years of service is a really big thing. It really is because, again, what we find is, particularly in property management, you're seeing these property managers hopping all over the place. They're with one agency today, they're with a different agency in a couple of weeks' time, and they're just, the landlord's not getting that longevity out of them. Our property managers, I'm going to name our seniors, Branka Stankovic. Brunks has been here with our agency, I want to say, for more than 15 years. She's been working in property management that whole time. She was awarded by realestate.com.au as Property Manager of the Year, right? Phenomenal woman. We call her Mother Teresa.
Yeah, for sure. And she also has a massive portfolio of properties that she maintains. So we have the most properties on the Northern Beaches in our rental roll. There's 1,650. And Bronca has a third of those, which is a massive portion of properties that she's maintaining.
She's phenomenal. Yeah. And obviously there's some assistants there that are helping her as well. Then we've got Cleo. Now, Cleo has been working in property management for a very long time. I want to say Cleo has been in property management for circa 17 years. She's been here with Novak for about 13 of those years. So a really long time. Phenomenal, extremely experienced. And she understands due diligence and the laws of property management better than most property managers. I want to say she's in the top 1% in the country.
I was her assistant and I learned so much from her. She was incredible. You would talk to her and she just straight away knew everything. And that's really important, right? Very, very important, because when things go wrong in property management, they happen very quickly. Yeah.
So it's really important that you've got someone who really, really understands the legislation and has that experience to be able to manage this. And then we've got Tina. Yeah. Tina Stacey, little pocket rocket, also been with us here for years and years. One of our senior property managers, extremely experienced. Again, those years of service are to be commended. They really are. It's very, very rare in the property management side of things.
For sure. And it's so important as well. Like, you have these landlords generally for quite a long period of time. Property is a long-term asset. So they build the relationships with the vendors rather than having a new person. Yeah. You need to have a good relationship with someone you're taking care of their $1 million bag.
Absolutely, 100%. Yep. So switching, guys, it's easier than you think. We will do all the hard work for you. You do not need to stay with a property manager or a company or real estate agency that you are not happy with. The changeover is much easier than you think. So if we can help you there, you make sure that, to reach out to us. And then there's the sales side of things. So on the sales side of things, it's a little bit trickier. Mm-hmm. All right. We sign into a exclusive sales agreement. And again, there's a certain portion of time, usually 90 or 120 days, that a vendor is committed to the agency for. Yep. So contracted to each other for that period of time.
And when you sign the agency agreement, I think that's something that is important that you read, because it can be an open agreement, but 99% of the time it's exclusive, which means that one agent is the one person that you can work with. So you need to check that and the amount of days that you're obligated to stay with them.
Yeah, so usually we see what's called an exclusive sales agreement, and it is very area centric. Here on the Northern Beaches, we see lots of exclusives. There are many areas. I know in the eastern suburbs, there's plenty of agents that actually do open agency agreements, which means there's multiple agents involved in the selling of that property. But let's say, for instance, you've signed into an exclusive agency agreement and you're locked into it, let's call it for 90 days, and you're just not happy. These are a little bit harder to get out of, okay? Now, there are loopholes sometimes. If a sales agreement has not been filled out correctly, there can be loopholes where a vendor can actually get out of that sales agreement, okay?
Yep.
The other area is if the vendor was not furnished with a copy of that sales agreement, it can be null and void. All right. So there are some loopholes, but sales agreements are a lot harder to get out of
For sure.
than rental agreements.
But it still doesn't mean you can't start having the conversation. Like, you'll be able to tell if your agent isn't doing the job correctly. You should be talking to them nearly every day. You should know everything that's going on with your campaign. And if that's not happening with you, then you should be talking to other agents to be ready to go when the time comes.
So that's actually an interesting point, Jess, because I was talking to a vendor a couple of weeks ago out of area, and they'd signed up with an agent, and they were selling along the coast. And they said to me, Lisa, I just want to know, like, what sort of communication is normal for a vendor, for an agent to have with a vendor? And that's a really, really good question. So I have some form of communication with my vendors every single day, either over the phone or in a WhatsApp chat, but there is some form of communication that is going backwards and forwards every day.
Yeah, me too. You have to.
Right? Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's very important, particularly in this market where it's this ever-changing market, it's really important that we have got this very open dialogue with vendors. But this particular client had not heard from his agent in 2 weeks.
It's insane. I can't believe it that would ever happen. I don't know, because at the end of the day, the agent is working on your property. They should be working on your property every single day. Every single day, something should come out of the work they're doing, and they should be talking to you, whether it's even asking for them to have a look at an ad or whatever it may be. Every single day, something's happened. So every single day, you should be talking.
100%. And not only that, but the thing is that, see, you guys that are selling, you don't know what's normal and what's not.
Yeah.
But I can tell you now, not hearing from your agent for 2 weeks in any sort of market is absolutely not normal. There should be regular communication coming through from the agent. You should never, ever be left wondering what is going on with your property, ever. All right. That agent should be contactable at all times and should be having a high level of communication with you. They're selling your house, for God's sakes.
This is why it's important at the start as well to make sure that you're really you're vetting the agent. Like, you pick an agent that you really like, that you can talk, you communicate well with, that is not just offering you the cheapest commission. It's someone that will actually do the job well.
100%. Like, I'm always saying to my clients, if all of our, whenever I'm going into an appraisal, if all of us agents are charging the same amount of commission, who's the agent that you're going to choose to represent your property? All right. And it's a hard choice. It really is. It's a very hard choice to make. But the other thing is the amount of time that you're signing into that exclusive agency agreement, that is negotiable. Okay. Even if there's 120 days on the exclusive agency agreement, you can negotiate that with your agent. All right. You're better off to try before you buy and just say to the agent, listen, are you okay if we do a 30-day agreement? Because in the event you're not all the things that you tell me that you are, at least I'm able to get out of that agreement if I need to. Because as I mentioned, those 100%. Sales agreements, they can be tricky. They can be tricky to get out of.
You can even do just say the agent's trying to pull you in by saying they have however many buyers. You can do it. There's no limit on the amount of days. You can do 1 day, you can do 2 days, you can do however many days, and give them a crack before you commit to 120 days.
Absolutely. And there's certain things that you should be asking anyway before you go signing that agency agreement. You want to know who is the person that's going to be selling your property. Because how many times we see it happen where an agent has signed up and next minute you've got little Johnny who's coming to do all your open homes and your negotiations while the other agent's off skiing, right? Ask your agent, are they going to be going away on holidays anytime soon, right? Travel's back. The last thing you want, again, is for your agent to sign up with an agent only to find that they're going on a European vacation for 4 weeks. And again, you're going to be dealing with someone else. You need to make sure the agent that you have nominated is going to be the agent that is going to be looking after your property. It's really important.
And the one at the open homes, that's the most important. It happens all the time.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
All the time.
Absolutely. It really does. So, just again, make sure you're asking, what are the terms on that agency agreement? That part of the contract or the sales agreement is extremely negotiable. And then it's a matter of always just having a human conversation with an agent. If you have legitimately signed up with an agent and it's just not working, contact the agent. Pick up the telephone and say, I'm not happy with the service that I'm getting provided. I want out. And just see what the agent says. I'll be honest. If I had a client who called me and said, Lisa, I'm not happy with the service I'm receiving, I want out, I can tell you now I'd be having a very human-to-human conversation with them.
So I was about to say, at the end of the day, if you're a good agent, when you get that, you welcome feedback and you want 100%. People to tell you things. If someone comes and says, hey, I'm not happy because of this, and this, then you fix those things and keep going. Whereas a not so good agent would just be like, okay, well then, leave.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, guys. So there's hopefully there's a little bit of information there that's helped you with the rental side of things and with the sales side of things. Some good little nuggets. I do want to talk, Jess, just before we finish up, I do want to talk a little bit about what's going on with the market, because this is an ever-changing market at the moment. It really is. Today's been a really busy day in real estate, offers-wise and listings-wise. It's been a very busy day.
Very busy. I think everyone kind of paused for Mother's Day, I found, over the weekend. Reckon? Yeah. Like my open home numbers are a little bit lower. And then today I think everyone's woken up.
Do you think?
Yeah, a little bit.
Look, there's so many different factors at the moment. We have so many outside factors. Okay, we've got interest rate rises. And even though they've gone up, in a very small increment, they are still historically extremely low.
Yeah.
We've got the upcoming election on the 21st of May. We're hearing that more and more now. We're just going to hold off and wait and see what happens. And then, of course, we've got the rain, the never-ending rain, and then we've got the pandemic as well. And the war.
And the war, everything.
Right? We've got it all.
Yeah.
There are so many outside factors. But one thing I do want to point out, and it's a conversation I've been having quite a lot lately with buyers, is be careful, guys, with your pre-approval. Okay? Be really careful, because financing is very tricky. I want to give you a story that took place the other day.
Yeah.
We exchanged a property and the purchaser put down a 0.25% deposit, had their pre-approval, and had the conversation with his broker and said, great news, I bought a property. And the broker said, hey, mate, by the way, your pre-approval ran out a couple of days ago.
Oh.
I've got to redo it. Redid his pre-approval only to find that he couldn't actually borrow as much money as he initially was approved for.
Yeah, be really careful of that. Super, super careful, because you end up in a bit of a pickle.
It's a big problem. Financing is hard. It's going to get harder. So here's some advice. If you are a buyer out there and you have your pre-approval, my recommendation is go and use it, because to have to reapply to get that pre-approval is proving to be extremely hard.
And at the end of the day too, although, like you said before, although we're seeing slight interest rate rises, it's the first one since 2010. It had to happen. We're at historic lows, even with the increase and with the projected increases. So at the end of the day, borrowing money is still it's not like it was for my parents or their parents' generation.
Well, they were, back then it was 17% interest rate.
Crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
So we are historically low with interest rates. But the biggest word I'm hearing at the moment from buyers is the wait word. We're just going to wait. We're going to wait till the floods stop. We're going to wait and see what happens with interest rates. We're going to wait and see what government's going to get in.
You'll be waiting forever.
Well, but be careful about waiting, right? Because, again, the pre-approval runs out in 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you've got to reapply, and then you could potentially find yourself in trouble. So, if you've got your pre-approval, go buy a property. That is definitely my recommendation. I don't really know what people are waiting for. The market has cooled, particularly here, hasn't it?
Yeah, but it's because we went off the charts. So now the correction started a little bit, and I think that's why we've been the first ones. People in Queensland, Newcastle, they haven't seen it yet, but it's coming.
Well, it's like a steam train, Jess.
Yeah.
We were the first to take off, and we're the first to come off. There are areas that haven't yet been affected. I talk to agents often from all over the country, and they're like, market correcting. What? Really? It's like, no, your turn's coming. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
It is cooling. I think a lot of buyers are waiting for the bottom to come right out of the market. The market is doing what the market has historically always done. It goes up and it comes down. We're still far better off than where we were 12 months ago, where we were seeing lead-in prices on property sitting for a house at about 1.6 mil.
Yep.
Right now, what's a lead-in price on a house?
Oh, it depends. We have one at the moment for 169, but then we're still seeing them over 2 in the majority of places. It's still a rarity to get a house on the beaches under 2 million despite the shift.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly. And so it's unlikely it's going to come off much more from there. Again, these are just our opinions from what we're seeing. It's still a wonderful time to be buying property. But, the general rule of thumb is always sell and buy in the same market. Okay. I've just had a conversation now with a great client, some good friends. They're looking at bringing their beautiful property on the market. And they said, should we wait till spring to see what happens? The seasons have nothing to do with the property market, but they're also looking to buy. So the area they're looking to buy and has come off as well. And so it's a wonderful time to be transacting now in the same market. Make sure you're buying and selling.
I think that saying's true. Like, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. So everyone's waiting for something that they don't actually know what it could be like. It might be worse off for them. So it's much better, biting the bullet now, doing it now when you know the situation you're in.
Yep. How good's this girl? Listen, Jess came and worked at Novak. How many years ago were you here?
About 3.
So 3 years ago, left to go and work. Are we allowed to say where?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So tell the story.
At McDonald's in their commercial property team.
Not flipping burgers.
Not flipping burgers. I used to do that. And then I came to Novak.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's the best training in the world, I reckon.
And then, so I was working in their commercial team. I did a lot of lease accounting. It was a lot of the behind the scenes of what goes on with property. It's one of McDonald's biggest assets. It competes with the actual business of running the stores. So I did that, and then now I've come back in the sales team.
Came back. What a gun. Watch this space. How old are you, Jess?
22.
22. You watch this space. I'm telling you now, this girl is an absolute weapon, and you literally tell her something, and honestly, there is nothing that you don't get. I know, you've got like this laser focus. Watch out for Jess. She's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, and an absolute dream to have you back here working at Novak.
I'm so happy to be
Not
back.
only do we have you, but Jess's mum also looks after our commercial division, was in sales support, now has moved into the commercial division as well, comes from a family of real estate agents.
And my sister.
And your sister as well. Nat is also working for us, working in our media department. The most amazing people. Beautiful family, but it's an honour to have you back here at Novak. It really is.
Thanks for having me back.
That's it, guys. That's a Monday night wrap. Hopefully that's helped some of you guys out there. If you need anything at all, please feel free to reach out to us. But, don't ever feel like you're stuck and you can't get out. We're always here to help you as well. There's plenty of organisations, FYI, that can help. Real Estate Institute of New South Wales is a great one. But we also have many, many wonderful people that we can always reach out to. If you're ever in a pickle, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to help.
Yeah, for sure.
That's it for us.
All right.
The girls.
Have a good Monday.
See you guys. Have a great night. Bye.